in order to solve this problem. And I really want to counter what David sort of portrayed. I really believe that if you want to have an effect, then collaboration and approaches, I mean, that's what's happening in many of my fellow left-wing radical groups in Israel itself, right? There are people who do an amazing amount of work, peace work, trying to collaborate, trying to bridge the gap, trying to educate each other about each other. And I think rather than sort of this mutual armament race of who can build the biggest grassroots counter-organization, I think it's so much more important to foster dialogue and education, in my view. But maybe you disagree.
So, thank you for that comment. You know, maybe you've heard the joke about two old men sitting in Miami, and one of them was reading a modern version of Der Stürmer, and the guy says, "Why would you read such terrible things? Look at all the terrible things they say about the Jews." And the other old man responds, he says, "You know, when I read the Jewish newspapers, everything is terrible. Jews are going to kill us. Everybody's against us. Everybody hates us. When I read this newspaper, at least I see we're powerful. We control things. We're in charge." And I think there is something to what you're saying. Interestingly, our Berlin office hosts a discourse between. You're familiar between Turkish community leaders and Jewish community leaders. I want to say this, that my own father, in the course of World War II, was saved in France by a Muslim imam who helped him get false papers so he could continue to hide. So this notion that all Muslims are anything is a mistake. It's a mistake because not only because it's wrong, but because it confuses our ability to understand where the problems really are. That said, I think there is I have a concern that you're right, that there is this very deep-rootedness to, I don't think anti-Semitism is a good word, to anti-Jewishness. And that it is something that's deeply ingrained in the Western narrative. And unfortunately, we have to be prepared to contend with it. The good news is we're better prepared than we were 60 years ago, or 70 years ago, 80 years ago, but it's still very worrisome what's happening.
And I'd like to allow one final question. I'm sorry, we're out of time. One final question before we continue.
Hi, I'm Joelle Hemsi, and I'm from Izmir, Turkey. And I grew up there, and having all the perspective of growing up there and the experience of being a Jew in Turkey, it makes me curious about what your thoughts are about the presence of anti-Semitism and anti-Jewishness in Turkey, because a Muslim Turkish wouldn't open up a center like that in Turkey, in the borders of Turkey. So would you say that it's more about something, the anti-Semitism is more about being in the environment of Turkey, or it's something more about this coming from the Western narrative?
The one thing I would say is the whole political situation in Turkey with Erdogan is very, very complicated. All my democratic Turkish friends are extremely disturbed with what is going on. And you have to understand the Jewish component of all of this. And why do I keep on making this terrible sound? This Jewish component in the context of the larger Turkish situation. And but apart from that, I mean, there have been, even before Erdogan, there have been attacks on the Jewish community, there were bombings of synagogues, and that's part and parcel of this whole Muslim, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic wave of terrorism that's been going So you have, I would say there are two things going on here. But it's the Erdogan central government transformation and the other strand of anti-Semitism that exists in Turkey.
No, I'm interested in what you think.
Good idea.
I mean, I could go on days and days talking about this topic, so what exactly are you interested in?
Well, would you go back?
That's a very tough question, and that's a question that a lot of the Turkish Jews ask themselves, because when it comes to college, a lot of my friends are studying abroad right now, and they keep asking themselves, do I go back or do I make Aliyah? And off the top of my head, I can count 30 Turkish Jews who study in the US for college, and then at least 20 of them made Aliyah after college, and only 2 out of those 30 people are in the US right now, and the other 8 people are back in Turkey. So it's definitely a matter of personal preference as well as family roots, because some of them have a lot of family in Israel, and so it depends.
It's hard.
It
Very
is.
hard.
I would like to add another insight to something that you say, and it connects to the previous question also. I personally participate in a lot of enterprise of dialogue with Muslims, Arabs, and my experience is that, for instance, I have an intake from participating in a kind of project like that in Turkey, that when they invite an Israeli to such kind of event, a peace dialogue, there is some kind of expectation that I would denounce my own identity as Israeli. And the question is, why is that happening? Why they cannot accept me, if they're a peace organization, as a proud Israeli and as a Jew? So I'm not saying that it happens all the time, but many of the organizations, many of the projects that I participate, there is some kind of unwritten expectation from the organizer that will come and say, oh, you know, guys, I'm so sorry about what we are doing. Well, that's not the case, guys. I'm Israeli, I'm ready for coexistence with everyone, I would like peace. I'm a Jew, I respect all the religions, I respect all the nationalities. If you want, take it. If you want, live it. And many of them live it, unfortunately. Many of them take it. But it's not 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And once again, I'd like to thank the panelists for coming, and I'd like to thank the audience for coming.
And a tremendous gratitude given to Misha and all the students that initiated this event.